Good morning and welcome to Meet the VIPs. I'm Mike Cernoff, and our guest today, repeat performance. Good morning to Mary Michele.
Good morning.
Who is our astrologer. Now, don't take it the wrong way. People pick up the paper. What's the first thing they look at? Where I came from, it was the obituary section, and then you read the horoscope. You know, you wanted to see if you were alive, and then if you were going to forget the comics. Nobody ever read them in my household. But, you know, I guess this is one of the most popular parts of a newspaper. I would love to know. We're going to have a little dialogue here before we take your phone calls at 241-1310. And my first question, what exactly is astrology?
Astrology is a blend of science and philosophy and perhaps religion. It's a series of ways of different kinds of ways of thinking. And I think you need, to be a well-rounded person, you need to accept that there are many, many different points of view, such as the fact that you could admire a Democrat and be a Republican. You don't necessarily have to be a Democrat. And I think in astrology, it's the same kind of thing. You can listen and learn. You can question. The main thing about astrology to me is questions. You want to ask a lot of questions.
What kind of questions should I be asking, or do people ask? You know, when you were here a couple of weeks ago, everybody wanted to know is what's my state of health going to be?
Yes.
Am I going to make money, and am I going to get married?
Right. Well, I think what you have to do is you have to think about why it is that these questions are important to you. Why is your health something that keeps coming up as an issue? Well, as a rule, our body is representational of what's happening in our mind. It doesn't mean that everything is in the mind. I don't think that's true at all. But it's moderation. Everything in life is about moderation. And if you can think about the fact that your body will respond to certain issues that are going on in the way that you see things and perceive things in life. If you are consistently worried about money, you might have issues that revolve around the basic structure of where a certain planet is in your astrological horoscope. And for different people, it'll be different things. There are lots of various aspects, as we talked about before. There are, you know, the different planets and the different signs and the different houses. So there are many different ways of looking at exactly pinpointing how the health is going to be affected. But lots of times it will be through how you're looking at things, how you're, you know, there are always two ways to look at something. Is the glass half empty? Is it half full? And this is very much about how everything we deal with in life, I think. It's having the right attitude and perspective and acknowledging that sometimes you are going to not be in a great mood and you're going to feel a little negative about things and so on. And that's okay. It's okay to feel that way sometimes. It helps you resolve things.
All right. Now, there are 12 signs. I suppose they're based on, I think you had mentioned this, they are based on where certain of the constellations are.
Right.
And then you have the, 9 planets, am I right? I got to remember Earth science here.
There are 10 bodies.
Including the moon.
The sun and the moon are not planets.
Okay, but are they included?
Yes.
Okay, but the Earth would be okay, so I was right. There are actually 9 planets, 8 and then 2 is 10. Right.
Right.
I got it right. The relationship of all these things, I mean, you got some that are closer. I mean, Mars. The one I always hear about is Jupiter and Venus.
Well, Jupiter and Venus are talked about quite a bit because they are the ones that raise your hopes. Jupiter is expansive. It's about, you know, being benevolent, having fun. When you think about the Greek and Roman image of Jupiter, he was the king of the gods. And what did he like to do? He liked to eat a lot. He liked to have fun. He liked to go out and party. He liked ladies. He liked, you know, all kinds of things. But he was the head guy. He was the ruler, and what he said goes. So there is something about Jupiter that can be quite dictatorial. Venus is the goddess of love. And the irony is, of course, that she is also the goddess of money.
You said she.
Venus?
Yeah.
Well, Venus is she. Jupiter is he.
See, I don't remember Greek mythology.
Oh, I'm sorry. Okay. Well, Venus is the two, let's see, in astrology, the 2 feminine planets that we deal with are Venus and the moon. The moon is, let's see, what goddess would she, she isn't usually related to a particular goddess in the when you talk about her in the chart, the moon. But Venus is definitely related to Aphrodite.
I was just thinking of Shakespeare for a second. But soft, this is Romeo and Juliet, but soft what light through yonder window breaks. It is the east, enjoy it is the sun. Arise, fair sun, and kill the envious moon, that thou art her handmaiden art more beautiful than she. See, I remember this now.
And Venus is like that. She's very jealous. There is a there's a component of one has to deal with the idea of love and beauty and so on, but there's always the other side of it that can be a little, well, you know. My favorite, a story that I tell a lot is the story of Sleeping Beauty. When I do a chart, when I work with someone on a chart, I will bring this up as something that is, I think, true of all of us. In the Sleeping Beauty, there were 12 fairies that were invited to the party to give the child, the godchild of the king and queen, presents. The king only had 12 plates, and that was his excuse as to why he didn't invite, because he knew in actuality there are 13 fairies. But he also didn't want to have her because he knew that she was trouble. Now, so what happens is that she comes anyway. And what did she do? She at first said to the princess that she was going to kill her. But the 12th fairy hadn't spoken yet, and she came along and she lessened the blow so that she was only put to sleep for 100 years. The meaning behind this story is that we have to accept that side of ourselves, that underpinning, that other. And with Venus, she's the one that provides beauty and love and money and helps us deal with those things and aspire to them and desire them. She's about desire. But she also will at times make us desire too much, whether it's too much chocolate mousse or it's, you know, too much money or...
Why did you mention chocolate mousse? You must have known what I had for dinner last night. Mary Michele is here. Couple more minutes, and then we're going to take some phone calls. For those of you who are waiting on the line, they're all lit up already. Please do hold on. We will get to you. We're going to talk a little bit more about the significance of this. Now, there was something in the news about 6 months ago. A 13th astrological sign.
This is something that has been around. The astrologers, astronomers, people who study the heavens have known about this for quite some time. I can't say for sure because I'm not the kind of astrologer that does a lot of statistics and so on, which there are a lot of. I mean, there are some very, very scientific astrologers, then there's some more philosophical ones, and then there's some very psychological ones. They also deal with finance. They're all different kinds of astrologers, but that's... Anyway, the point is that this... I've taken it on good faith from people that I really trust that have examined this, that this is not something that needs to be dealt with particularly. It's... it can be looked at, and maybe eventually there will be influences that will cause this 13th sign to have more validity. But today, I don't think that it is something to really acknowledge.
Okay. You ready for some phone calls?
Yes.
All the lines are lit up. I apologize. Okay. The discussion is interesting because, you know, you may say, well, I don't really believe in it, but what's the first thing you do? You read it. Yes. And then you want to see whether or not it actually came true.
And I think usually you can see ways in which it has. It may not be exact, and I don't think that it should be exact because, you know, most of life is about asking questions. Mm-hmm. How often do you get an answer? Mm-hmm. You don't get answers. Okay. We want them, but, you know.
Sometimes you don't get it. Our first caller, good morning. You're Francis from Mount Kisco. Francis was born. We're not going to give your last name. Don't worry, Francis.
It's okay. I'm happy to be here all these years.
Hey, we're happy to have you, too. Francis was born on January 8th, 1913. January 8th, 1913.
Correct.
Just give us a second because Mary Michele's getting her charts out.
Okay.
And as soon as she is ready, she'll say, what's your question?
All right.
Okay.
January 8th, 1913. What's your question?
Well, the thing is this, is after so many years, a good many years, has been a complete turnabout in my life. I was wondering now, is this going to be for the better?
The theme today for me, and for all of us, that I wanted to talk about a little bit, is the moon. It's Monday. Your moon, when you were born, was in the sign of Aquarius. In the month of April, Aquarius went back into its own sign. The last time this happened was in 1912. Uh-huh. You probably, during the month of April, experienced new beginnings. There was something unusual. You might have felt a little ahead of your, you had thoughts that were ahead of other people and so on. And I think you have to examine what happened then to relate to what you're asking me now. In other words, I think you will have things turn around in a new, very positive, quite exciting way.
Well, that's good.
Dramatic.
Uh-huh.
Is that answering your question?
How about health?
Health.
So far, so good.
So far, so good. There wasn't anything unusual that happened in April with your health?
No.
No. Okay, well, then then you're fine. The sign of Aquarius is about sudden insight, but it can also be about sudden things happening to you. So you might have broken a fingernail or a finger or something.
At least it's not a bone or something like that.
But if you didn't in April, then the odds are everything is
The
fine.
change looks pretty good then.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you very
All
much.
right,
You're
thank
very
you for
welcome.
calling, Francis in Mount Kisco. On line 2 is Tony from Katona. Good morning, Tony.
Morning, Tony.
You were born May 1st, 1963. May 1st, 1963. And you are watching, so you can wave to yourself right now, Tony. Good morning. How are you?
Very good.
Good. Hold on one second. Mary Michelle's getting the right...
Okay, I'm ready. What is your question?
We're contemplating whether or not we should stay in our current field, my husband and I, or if we should look in the direction of starting a business. And maybe you can give us an idea of what that business might be.
Well, are you, do you do something that is visual, creative, with the sign of Taurus, and you have Mercury in Taurus? There is this component of Venus, what we were talking about earlier, a love of beauty, textiles, things that you can touch, taste, see, smell, eat, food. Does any of this appeal to you?
We haven't really given it much thought, but I will keep those things in mind for future reference. Right now I'm in real estate.
Real estate. Well, Taurus is very grounded. It's Earth. It's definitely about being very, very grounded. But you have a lot of fire planets, so I would say that you should probably start your own business. Yeah, fire is about starting new things and usually wanting to do it for yourself.
Okay, great.
Okay.
All right, thank you very much. Let's go now to Yorktown, and good morning to Donna.
Morning.
Donna was born on July 10th, 1959. She is a Cancer, as am I, but she's much younger than I am.
July
Hold on 1
10th.
second. For those of you who are on hold, please, we will be with you momentarily. Just stay tuned, okay? We'll be there for you. Okay, go ahead.
What is your question?
I guess it would be a general question about my children and my husband and family life type of thing.
Well, let me say that right now it might be difficult to converse with them. There might be a little bit of a lack of communication. You have the moon in Virgo, Venus in Virgo. You have a strong sense of this, the planet, the sign Virgo, which is in a little bit of a conflict with where the sun is now in Gemini. So just take it easy. The next 3 weeks, take it easy. After that, really try to talk to them as much as you possibly can. And I think it's all going to come out fine. I mean, I think you're probably a very good homemaker, and I would, be happy with that.
With a Virgo, how does that with the Cancer, is that a good...
Yes, it's a good mix. It's a very good mix. It's earth and water. Virgo is earth, Cancer is water, and as we know, on the planet, that's the way they work, earth and water. It's a good combination. And then fire and air are a good combination. So... was there some other question?
Okay, Donna. I have a question, Mary Michelle. You had mentioned earth and water, and I'm just asking this question very naively. Water covers basically, 70% of the earth right now? Does that mean that somebody who is a water, if I'm getting this right, would dominate somebody who's an earth because of the amount? Does that play into it at all?
Well, no, it's not domination. It's about water... will find where there are nooks and crannies. It will
Right.
go around the Earth. But the Earth stays. The Earth is there. Parts of the Earth don't move. I mean, periodically, the water, of course, makes it all move, but then it can happen the other way as well, that Earth will come up and take space away from water. So it's just that they move with each other. There's a give and take. There's a rhythm. You know how the ocean has rhythm. Water, anything to do with water has a rhythm to it. And rhythm is a very important factor in our lives. Our heart beats at a particular rhythm, a particular pace. Everything that we do, getting up in the morning, it's a rhythm, it's a ritual, but it's very much about the nature of rhythm, which water is what gives us a lot of. Usually water-signed people will have a strong sense of rhythm and like music and dance and things that have to do with using rhythm.
Okay. Next on the line is Mary from Mount Kisco, November 13th. 1953, November 13th, 1953. Mary, wave at yourself also. You're watching on TV at the moment. Good morning to you.
Morning, Mike.
How are you?
Good, and you?
Good.
Good.
Okay.
Morning. What's your question?
Hi, I'd like to know my future for the next few months, for the summer months, and romance and health.
Well, I know the romance bit is quite important here. You have a lot of planets in Scorpio here. So I think that's kind of important. And I think that certainly during the month of July, there's a strong possibility of having... are you involved with someone?
No, not right now.
No. Well, during the month of July, there's a strong possibility of getting together with someone. But I think that in terms of long range... if you did meet someone, then you would probably want to wait until late fall to put pressure on that person or yourself about making any commitment or decision.
Okay. And how about health?
Health is fine.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
That's good to know, too.
Yes, it is.
All right. Thank you very much. 24 minutes past the hour. For Laura and Edith, we're going to be getting to you momentarily. Laura is going to be the next caller here at WVIP with Mary Michele, our astrologer. You can call in at 241-1310. We'll be happy to talk to you at that point. We'll ask for where you're calling from if you're watching on TV or listening on radio and your date of birth. We'll be back right after these words here at WVIP.
My grades were so bad they took me off the team.
Meet Sylvan student Solomon Sheard and his mother, Anna.
Solomon was getting F's, D's, F's, and D's. That spelled trouble, big trouble.
I hated school.
He was frustrated. I was frustrated. That's when we called Sylvan.
First of all, Solomon's a fantastic child.
Meet Sylvan instructor Susan Hyman.
I believe that once Solomon started coming to Sylvan and we were able to give him that individualized attention, we were able to bring him up to where he can succeed and do really well.
Now I'm getting A's.
His grades have improved. His behavior has improved. He's a confident person.
I felt like I could do anything.
Sylvan gave Solomon wings to fly with, and that's exactly what he's done.
I'm Barbara Stern, Director of Mount Kisco's Sylvan Learning Center. Call Sylvan today for summer hours, 666-4116.
I'm back on the team.
And again, we are taking your calls at 241-1310 from Mary Michele. Feel free to give us a call.
Looking for the perfect recipe to satisfy your talk show hunger?
Just keep chatting. Whoop, there it is.
E-Entertainment Television is serving it up just the way you like it.
Talk soup. Nice, big, hot, steamy bowl.
With the finest ingredients.
We don't use any MSG.
The most outrageous segments.
Ladies come out swinging.
All the good stuff with none of the fat.
Give us a half hour, we'll give you nightmares for a week.
In fact, you'd have to watch hours and hours of ordinary talk shows just to get all the goodness that's jam-packed into each and every hearty helping of talk soup.
It's almost a stew if you think about it.
Only on cable and only from E-Entertainment Television, the entertainment news and information authority.
Can you think of anything better?
Talk soup with Greg Kinnear. It's always hot.
And to order Talk Soup, call Cablevision of Yorktown, 962-4444. And welcome back to Meet the VIPs. Mike Sarnoff with you, and our guest today is Mary Michele, an astrologer, and we're inviting your phone calls at 241-1310. And on the phone with us now is Laura from Mount Kisco. Good morning, Laura.
Good morning.
And your date of birth is March 6, 1909 at 3 o'clock in the afternoon.
That's right. I know I'm an old-timer, but I just wanted to see what prospects I had for a little longer life.
Wait till you hear the next caller, though.
This is wonderful. I think this is great. It's very interesting that you should call today because the theme of today is the moon, being Monday. And the moon today is in Pisces, in your sun sign. So there's a definite, your sense of being today is about a very, very strong sense of compassion. Pisces is the compassionate sign. It's the old souls, the people that have been here a lot, and you were born at the full moon. The moon is in the sign of Virgo in your chart, which is the opposite sign to Pisces. So you've probably led a very, very full life. And there's no reason to think that you won't continue up to do that up until the very, very last moment of breath. Let's see. You should be thinking about new concepts and ideas right now. You have Mercury in the sign of Aquarius, and as I said earlier, the planet that rules Aquarius has come back into its own sign, and it's about new age thinking or new beginnings, not necessarily new age like, metaphysical with the flower power people or whatever, but it is about, I think you're thinking about a lot of new things. Have you had new inspiration recently?
I've just been sworn in as an officer in the senior group.
Ah, that's great. Well, I'm sure you're just going to do a wonderful job. That is really, really great. And I think as of the 1st of January, it's going to get better.
Very good.
Okay.
I'd just like to know how my sight is going to do.
Your sight is always going to be excellent because you see into people's souls.
I'm a retired Army nurse.
Right. And you have always had a lot of compassion and dealt with people from the heart. So whenever you have a problem with your eyes, just realize that it is not the reality of what you're seeing, but what you're getting and seeing on another level. I think, your eyes are going to be okay. They'll work for you, but it's more about what you see beyond the physical manifestation of the eyes.
Very good.
Okay, Laura, thank you very much for calling us. And congratulations on your appointment as an officer of, I'm assuming, the Mount Kisco Senior Citizens Group. Good morning to Edith. Now, Laura, I know you felt that you were getting along, but here is a lady who was born on March 2nd, 1902. Good morning to you, Edith. You're from Mount Kisco, and you're watching, and we're saying a special hi to you today.
Good morning. You also have the sun in Pisces, so again, it's about a certain amount of compassion, but you might have been more involved with teaching, or the moon in Sagittarius is about philosophy and teaching and so on. You would have been more someone that was spurring people on intellectually. Were you involved in some philosophical, intellectual thing? Were you a teacher or a student or?
No. I was just a weaver, a good weaver.
Ah, well.
That's creative.
That's very creative. Did you talk about it? Did you ever enjoy talking about it? Did you ever?
Yes, I enjoyed my work and I enjoyed talking about it.
Uh-huh. Did you have a particular question?
Yes. I am just about to take a trip.
Uh-huh.
And am I well enough to take this trip?
Well, I think you're well enough, but we are coming up to a period right now, the next 3 weeks. Mercury, the planet of transportation and communication, does kind of a little backward dance. So you might experience some frustrations.
Oh.
But it doesn't have to do with your health, okay? It has to do with the fact that planes might not take off on time and trains might be a little slow and that kind of thing.
Oh, that kind of thing.
Yeah, it doesn't have anything to do with you personally.
Oh, okay.
But I want you to not, sometimes what happens when those things happen is we tend to think that it's, personal.
Yeah.
Right, so don't think that.
No.
Okay?
Yes.
So have a good time.
Yeah, I'm going to try to.
Okay.
I'm going to nice people that I'm sure of.
Oh, that's wonderful.
My family members, and it's just beautiful.
Where are you going?
Italy.
Oh, fabulous. We'll have a great time.
Well, I'm sure I will, because the people that I'm going to are very special. They're good. They're good people, kind. They're kind and loving and caring.
Well, you are too.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you for calling.
I try to be.
Okay, thank you for calling. And we are taking your phone calls at 241-1310, 241-1310. What you will be asked is your name, just the first name, where you're calling from, if you're watching on television or listening on radio, and your date of birth, month, date, and year, because that's important for Mary Michele, who is our guest to Meet the VIPs. Now, you had said that we're coming into a period where there is a planet that is
Mercury.
Is controlling travel.
Yes.
Now, does that affect everybody, or is it just some people who are going to be affected by this?
Well, people that are Mercury ruled will have more of a difficulty with it.
People, now who is ruled by Mercury? Is
Virgo and Gemini.
Virgo and Gemini.
Are the signs that are ruled by,
okay.
you know. And if you work in communications or you work in the travel business, you will probably have a particular planet that is very effective. Well, everybody has Mercury, but you will probably have a way that you work with that very strongly if you are in either one of those businesses. And when Mercury goes retrograde, it's the moonwalk. It's going backwards. Mercury was the trickster. He was not someone that ever did any terrible damage to people, but he liked to play jokes, and he would switch the signs. In other words, if that was the way to Rome, he'd make it that way. So, you know, he likes to play jokes on people.
So don't worry, if you're going to Italy, the plane will get you where you do want to go.
Right.
We have a couple of calls here. We're waiting to find out their dates, so we're going to get to that. We had talked about the way a Cancer and a Sagittarian would work together. When you were last here, we talked about me. You had said people in communication or the travel industry right now.
Mm-hmm.
You said that there are going to be other aspects coming into this. As a general rule, when people look at their horoscope, and again, I'm not one, because I've never had mine done other than by you, and it turned out you were pretty accurate about who I was. Are there certain, I mean, we come into the full moon. We just had one last week, I guess it was. You had said the moon is very, very important in everybody's life. What is the significance of the moon?
The moon is that which is unspoken. The moon is how we feel about things. And we're always trying to bring the issues of the moon up to the surface to get to know ourselves better. And how that manifests is in very, very specific day-to-day practical things. It's the way in which you make your coffee in the morning. It's the way in which you go to bed at night. You know, if you're someone that likes to take a shower at night, or you like to take it in the morning, or you like to, you know, take it once every 3 days. Everybody has a different routine. But those routines are what the moon rules in your life. And if you can observe yourself in those routines, particularly if you have a problem, you know, if you have a drinking problem, or if you have a gambling problem, or you have a drug problem, or something like that, if you can observe your routines, then it's going to be much easier for you to work through the problem. Because the moon is what causes us, as a rule, to get off in the way of bad habits.
Okay. Christine is on the phone with us now. Christine was born September 20th, 1951. September 20th, 1951. Good morning, Christine. We're waving at you also, watching on Cable Channel 12.
Morning, Mike.
Good morning.
Good morning. 1951, September?
September 20th, 1951.
Okay, no, 20th. So you were born with the moon in Gemini, the theme of today, this moon thing. So you're probably very quick about the way that you move around. You like to do things fast.
Definitely.
Yes. Was there a particular question that you wanted to ask me?
Hey, I might have an opportunity to change jobs. This would be a major change.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm just wondering, if I am offered the opportunity, would it be something good? You know, like, should I take it? Something that you think would be maybe work out for me? It's something that might be so different and I'm just not sure.
Is it in communications?
Yes.
And you haven't worked in communications before?
No.
No. Well, I wouldn't do it within the next, I wouldn't make the shift within the next 3 weeks. When are you supposed to get the...
Oh, it could be something within the next few months. It's just something I'm kind of working on. I don't know if it's even going to happen, to tell you the truth.
Well, I think you have a very good chance of making it happen in July.
Oh, good.
Okay, so if you really want it, go for it and make it happen in July.
Okay, Mary.
Okay.
Okay, thank you, Christine. Let us see now. We're looking at this line here is Josephine. Josephine, good morning.
Good morning.
You were born, I believe it's March 19th, 1914. You're calling from Yorktown. Not only is she watching us, she's also listening to us.
Oh, great.
In stereo. Good morning.
Thank you.
I'm sorry, you have to tell me again, March what?
19th.
19th.